In this section of the tutorial, we will look at the components of the program. The components in Carousel of Ideas work together to move students through each proficiency level. This slide shows you all the components in Set 1. Similarly, Set 2 includes the same components. Let's take a look at each of these components in more detail. The Teacher's Guide with thorough lesson plans is the orchestrating component that tells you when and how to use each component. There are 2 Teacher's Guides, one for each set. Set 1, the green and white book, covers the beginning and early intermediate proficiency levels. Units 1 and 2 are for the beginning level, and Units 3 and 4 are for the early intermediate level. Set 2, the blue and white book, covers the intermediate, early advanced, and advanced levels. Units 5 and 6 are for the intermediate level, Unit 7 is for the early advanced level, and Unit 8 is for the advanced level. The lesson plan flowcharts provide a short summary of each activity in the Teacher's Guide. It gives you a glance of the whole chapter of lessons on a single-page spread. Once you plan your lesson using the Teacher's Guide, these charts provide an easy reference to support your daily instruction. There is one chart for each chapter and separate charts for grades K to 1 and grades 2 to 5 to take into account the developmental level of English learners in these grade spans. If you have a copy of the book, turn to page 5 in the introduction. Look at the top left corner. Each chart includes the approximate teaching time for the chapter and page references to the Teacher's Guide for that same chapter, followed by the target vocabulary from nouns to other parts of speech. At the top of the right page are the key functions and forms being emphasized in the chapter. Looking at the sessions and lessons horizontally, you can see how the chapter emerges over time. Now, viewing the sessions vertically, you can see how each lesson embraces the gradual release of responsibility with the I do it, teacher presents, we do it, students practice with teacher's guidance, and you do it, students apply and extend. We will be talking more about this when we walk through a lesson. In the K1 charts, activities are modified to focus on listening and speaking skills. The reading and writing activities are adapted to be more appropriate for younger learners. For example, following a read-aloud literature activity, K1 students orally tell if they liked or didn't like the book, and then draw a picture of their favorite part. In contrast, for this same lesson, students in grades 2 to 5 complete a formal book report. The charts include the abbreviation M before all modified activities. Some activities are not developmentally appropriate for students in grades K through 1. For example, certain activities that focus on sophisticated grammatical concepts would not be developmentally appropriate. The charts include the abbreviation NDA in place of all activities that fall into this category. The Language Progress card shows you the entire scope and sequence of the Carousel program. This card is used to keep track of individual student progress. One side is for Set 1, and if you flip it over, the other side is for Set 2. If you look horizontally across the top of the card, you will see that some of the chapters have the same topic. It is not the same vocabulary because as students move through the program, the vocabulary and language structures get more and more complex and sophisticated. For example, the people in Unit 1, Chapter 1, are the immediate family and the teacher. In Unit 2, Chapter 1, students learn about the extended family and other support personnel in the school environment. The resource book is exactly as it is named, a book full of reproducible resources to support instruction. The resource book contains activity sheets, templates to create games, dictionaries, or chapter portfolios, short readings, art projects, and chapter tests and assessment forms. On the inside back cover of the resource book is a CD-ROM that can be used to print the activity sheets instead of photocopying from the book. The picture and word cards are critical to bring meaning to the language that students are learning. A picture is worth 1,000 words, as the adage goes, because you can use them not just to teach the names of vocabulary, but to present vocabulary in a rich linguistic environment. There are over 550 picture cards in the program. The theme pictures are also critical to bringing meaning to the language and are a way of putting all of the vocabulary of a chapter under the same umbrella. In other words, you can talk about the vocabulary of a chapter in relationship to each other in the context of an authentic setting. The reverse side of a theme picture provides ideas and suggestions to facilitate discussion about the picture using the vocabulary and target language forms and functions. Reading and writing extension activities are also included. On the reverse side of the theme pictures, there are also differentiated language activities to provide support for the different levels of English learners in your class. Questions and activities are scaffolded based on language level. If you have access to a projector, use the theme pictures CD-ROM to project the images on a screen for the entire class to view. Another component in the program are the Transparencies on CD-ROM. These visuals include short readings, poems, songs, chants, instructional tools such as graphic organizers, and idioms. These visuals are provided in CD-ROM format to be used with an LCD projector. Frames for Fluency supports Carousel with over 550 ready-made sentence frames. These sentence frames provide oral language practice to promote accuracy and fluency in both social and academic contexts. The frames call out and highlight the key grammatical forms and language functions of the chapter. Section 5, Using Frames with Carousel, will discuss this in more detail. Idea Picture Dictionary 1 supports Set 1 with pictures for each word in English, as well as the translation of the word in other languages such as Spanish, Vietnamese, Hmong, Filipino, Chinese, and French. The Idea Picture Dictionary 2 for Set 2 is targeted at higher proficiency English learners and includes the part of speech, the word meaning, and the word used in a sentence. This dictionary does not have the word translations, as students are at a higher proficiency level in terms of cognition in English by the time they reach the intermediate level. In Dictionary 1, we are cognizant of the fact that students are thinking in their first language while at the beginning levels of language learning. The literature collection is an integral part of the program, presenting the vocabulary and language in the context of high-quality literature. Lesson 4 in every chapter is a literature lesson. The teacher's guide includes pre-reading, during reading, and after reading activities that correspond to the literature book. There are 25 books in Set 1 and 21 books in Set 2. Creative Ideas are consumable activity books that provide additional practice with the target vocabulary and language forms and functions. There are 8 activity books covering the beginning through advanced proficiency levels. The corresponding audio CD supports the development of listening and speaking skills. These books are useful for sponge activities when students have extra time in class or for homework or parental involvement. These consumable activity books can be purchased separately for each student. The Go English 2 charts are a teacher tool consisting of 5 charts, each representing a single proficiency level. These charts show the range of functions emphasized in the proficiency level in relationship to the grammatical forms. The forms and functions of the Go English 2 are aligned with those of Carousel and provide the teacher with additional sample sentences for students to use and practice. Additionally, there is a verb clock that shows how the various verb tenses are introduced as a student progresses through the 5 distinct levels of proficiency.